here, you'll see what a huge difference it can make in your business. Some people get tons of traffic and they abandon their sites. They just don't know how to improve their conversions, or they just don't understand what to do. Other people can take that same site and turn it into a winner, like I said before. The big boys and girls always track their conversion rates. Now, I'm not talking about just like gurus and people you see in the IM space. I'm talking about large businesses. Any Fortune 500, Fortune 1000, whatever kind of corporate business you're talking about, whether they're on the internet or just doing retail, you will notice that they do track those numbers. I was in retail when I first got out of college, and we always had reports we had to send in. We had a buyer that would track things and know what was selling better. Those are the things that I learned from day one in my marketing career that came from the brick and mortar background that carry over in the internet. It makes it easier and faster, and I'll show you how that works down the road. But it's always being tracked by those successful folks. Conversion rate, as an explanation, is just how many visitors it takes to get a sale or an action. You have 100 visitors, one person buys 1%. I'll go into that in more detail down here. But there are always some people that are non-buyers. In other words, you're never going to get 100% conversion. People talk about 60% conversion on their landing page. That means 60% of the people that came put in their name and email. That's a fantastic rate. Other people might get 10%. It depends on what you're doing. And so knowing your numbers compared to what the norm is will give you an idea of what improvements you can still make on yours. Now, conversion rates are always measured in percentages, and that's just so everybody is talking on the same page of how it works. So if 1,000 visitors come, 0.5% would mean you got 5 sales. If 1,000 visitors came, that's the same 1,000, right? Let's say it's the same 1,000, and you were getting 1%, that'd be 10 sales. So now if you think about that, you've just doubled your sales with the same number of visitors. And of course, you can do the math on what you're selling things for. But we'll do some examples later too. So if you're at a 5% conversion now, and you only get to 1%, you've doubled your income. But what if you could get to 2% or 4% or more? On a launch I did, I remember we were at 7.6%, I think, and as an average, which was pretty decent. Let's do an example here. At 0.5%, let's say you're averaging $27 a day. So in other words, some days you sell nothing, some days you sell a couple, some days you sell one. On average, you're profiting $27 a day. That puts $810 in your bank account. Okay, that's pretty good. Now, if you doubled that, you'd be at 16 something. But what if you got it up to 2%? That's 4 times as much. That's 108 a day. That's $3,200. Now, that's pretty good money for one little website. What if you could do that again and take it to 4%? 6480 is a decent website. Now, what if you had 10 of those? I'll let you do